Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Thank you again so much for joining me for another Nimble training webinar. Today we're going to go through the entire application. We're having technical difficulties today, so I won't be sharing Outlook and mobile, but we've covered them in previous webinars and they can be easily accessed on YouTube. Nadia, if you could put in the YouTube link in the chat, that would be awesome. If you have any questions or feedback during today's session, please type them into the questions box and we'll cover them at the end of today's session. So before we get started, let's spend a couple minutes discussing what Nimble actually is. So as you may know, Nimble is an easy to use CRM that works for you in Microsoft 365, Google Workspace, and everywhere else you work. It automatically combines your contacts, communication histories, email inboxes, and calendar appointments, and it also integrates with social media and with almost 200 different SaaS applications. So let's take a look at Nimble now. So here we are on Nimble's Today page. This page was designed to allow you to completely customize it to your specific needs and the role you play in your company. But before we get to the Today page and before the Today page starts populating with data, we first have to make sure that we have connected everything we need to Nimble. So to do that, let's go to Settings, and that's this top right corner bubble here. Just click on that and then a drop-down menu is going to appear. And then from here, you can go into Networks and Imports. All right, so here we are in Networks and Imports. So first, let's make sure that your email account is connected to Nimble. So you can do that a couple different ways. You could just click this email accounts thing here, or I think you can like search for it here, but since it's already here, let's just click this button. All right, so Nimble supports all email providers as long as they are IMAP, like I said. Unfortunately, we don't support POP, but if your email is POP, you can try contacting your email provider and see if they can enable IMAP for you. If you're using Microsoft 365, we have great news for you. So let me go back here. It's really easy to connect your Microsoft 365 account. As you can see, I just have this button down here. And if I click that, this small menu will appear. And if you have all of these checkboxes checked and you click this Connect Microsoft 365 button, it'll automatically not only sync your email, but also connect your contacts and your calendar with one click. And if you are importing your contacts this way, I do want to note that whenever you import contacts, it's really important to tag them just so that you and all of your team members can know where your contacts came from, who uploaded them, etc. And this process is also very similar for Gmail or Google Workspace. So as you can see, I have this button right here. And if I click that, I can connect my calendar or I can connect my email and contacts. And again, if you're importing your contacts from Gmail, make sure to tag them as you import them. And so that's how we connect our emails. The process is also very similar for your social network. As you can see, I have my Twitter account connected. You can also connect your other accounts using this button right here. I do want to note that Nimble directly integrates with Twitter, meaning that after you connect your Twitter account to Nimble, you'll be able to see conversations you've had with your prospects and customers or anyone that you're talking to on Twitter directly inside Nimble together with your email conversations. And I can show you what that looks like later on when we get to the contact page or the contact record. Okay. And in addition to that, I do want to note that Facebook, together with Instagram and LinkedIn, made the business decision a few years ago to close their APIs. So we're currently not able to directly integrate with them. We do still make it possible for you to use Nimble on all your favorite social networks via our browser extension called Nimble Prospector. And I'll cover how to use that later in the webinar as well. On the topic of LinkedIn, it's possible to import your LinkedIn connections into Nimble by downloading them from your LinkedIn account and then using our CSV import to bring them into Nimble. So if I scroll up here, you can see in this quick connect area that we have the button CSV. And so that's how you can import your LinkedIn contacts if you have a CSV file with them in that. And again, when you're importing contacts, just make sure that you tag them so that you and your teammates are aware of who brought in which contacts. Additionally, if you want to make sure that your LinkedIn contacts are always up to date in your Nimble accounts, you can either run this export and import periodically, maybe like once a month or once a quarter, or you can use our Nimble Prospector browser extension to bring them in as you add them to your LinkedIn network. And note that Nimble is always going to automatically merge all duplicates if they have the same email address. So back to importing CSV files. Importing CSV files is a really convenient way to import your contacts since a lot of companies track their customers and prospects with spreadsheets. And you can either first make sure that all your column names correspond with the names of the fields in Nimble, or you can manually map them upon import. So let me go into what that means. So here I have the CSV importer. Here's an example that I have. And by mappings, I mean these right here, so the fields. You can either already make sure that your spreadsheet fits these kinds of mappings, like the default mappings here, or you can choose different ones from our saved mappings. You also have the option to make custom mappings and save it here, but we have a lot of different options for you if you'd like to import your contacts through CSV files. This is also really useful to know if you're transitioning from a different CRM, like I said, importing contacts from LinkedIn, because it's really likely that we already know what the original file looks like, and we give you that option in our saved mappings here. All right, so that covers contact imports. So let's move on to the Today page. All right, so we are back on the Today page. Now that your emails and calendars are connected and your contacts have been imported, the Today page can start populating with valuable business information. So like I said, the Today page is completely customizable, and you and everybody else in your company can pick what widgets they want to see. Our widgets can also be moved, removed, and duplicated. There are a couple ways you can do that. So as you can see, we have this Manage Widgets button on the top right with this little gear icon. And if you click that, it opens up this menu where you can take these little 6 dots and click and drag your widgets. So that's one option. Or another way you can do it is by going into these 3 dots on the top right-hand corner of each of your widgets, and it brings this drop-down menu, which gives you the option to move, hide, or duplicate your widgets. And duplicating your widgets is actually very useful if you would like to, for example, have your work calendar open in one widget and then your personal calendar open in another widget without having to click these drop-down menus to change them every single time. All right, so that being said, let's go into each individual widget. Let's start with the call logging widget. So if I go down here, and again, it's customizable, so it doesn't have to be down here. If you'd like to have it at the top, you definitely can. So here's our call logging widget, and this widget can help you track all of your interactions with your contacts to help stay on top of your follow-ups, improve relationships, and also measure your team's success. Next up, we have custom activities, and the custom activities widget will allow you to display all your pending, completed, and overdue custom activities. If I scroll up a little bit, we have the deals widget. And with this, you can check the status of your deals and your overall pipeline while taking progressive action directly from your dashboard. And what that means is that you can click to access engagement history, you can get your current insights on key contacts, update deal statuses, add notes to existing deals, or create new deals, all from this little widget right here. So that's a really useful one that you might want to keep at the very top of your Today page. So next we have the Stage Funnel. The Stage Funnel widget will allow you to track your sales funnel. So you can monitor your active prospects, leads, and opportunities at each stage and see a quick overview of your stages to know where you need to focus to meet your goals. On that topic, we have the pipeline chart, and this widget shows you all of your deals organized by date. The color coding on each bar gives you a visual of the amount of the deals, or amount for the deals you're managing by the stage they're in for that month. And you can also change the views here. So right now I have it on weighted. You could put total here, and you can also change the time frame that you're looking at. So next up we have tasks right here, and this is just a little to-do list widget that we have. You can check things like that, and it'll automatically be set as done, or you can favorite your tasks, or maybe not favorite, star them as important. And you can see all of your open tasks, upcoming tasks, overdue, completed, and like I said, we have the important option here too. And you can customize that by going into this drop-down menu and selecting the tasks that you'd like to see. And as you can see, you can also see your own tasks or your team's tasks. Next up, we have our events widget, or the calendar widget, depending on how you'd like to call it. And this widget will allow you to view your meetings for the day. You can select from the drop-down menu and either see all the calendars you've connected to Nimble or select only your personal calendar. So we have that here. Signals to the right will allow you to see how your prospects and customers are interacting with you on Twitter. And note that this is only if you do connect your Twitter account. And lastly, we have our highlighted contacts widget. And this will give you the option to see important contacts based on the parameters you set, such as their title, location, company, or interests. And to personalize the suggestions for your highlighted contacts, you can edit the search criteria within contact keywords in your Nimble settings. And again, to access your settings, we go to this bubble in the very top right corner, click that, and it shows this drop-down menu here, and you can go into settings. So back to the highlighted contacts, Nimble will search these keywords in the social and contact bio for your contacts to surface relevant people for you to connect with in this widget here. All right, so speaking of contacts, let's go to our contact page. Now, Nimble has a lot of great features, but at its heart, it is a contact database. And that being said, this page is probably where you're going to be spending the most time. All right, so let's go into it. So in this contact page, you can easily see all of your contacts, just people, just companies, your important, recently viewed, recently added, recently contacted, the people you've set stay in touch reminders for, and also your removed contacts. So let's get into what an individual contact record looks like. I'm going to go to my important contacts. And as you may know, this is John Ferrara. He is Nimble's CEO. So as you can see in this top left corner, we have all the basic information. I have his profile picture, the little star to mark that he is important, his name, his title, and his company, as well as all of his social icons right here. And I also have a little bio for him here as well. In addition to viewing all this basic information, it's really easy to log notes. I can just click this and this pop-up comes here. And I can X that out if I don't need it. You can also log past activities or schedule future activities. And you can see that these boxes look pretty similar. That's just to kind of like keep the format consistent. You can also send tracked emails. And you can also send templated emails as well. I could select a template from here. Or you can add a deal to your contact. You also have the ability to set up your privacy here. So for example, if I didn't want this contact shared with everyone, I could click this drop-down button and go private to owner. And this ensures that only I can view this contact. I can also set it as viewable to everyone but not editable, or set up custom privacy. So our privacy groups are really useful if you want each of your team members to have different sets of privacy. So what I mean by that, or an example of that, would be in onboarding. So for example, every time you add a new sales rep to your team in Nimble, you can add them to your sales team settings and they will have the exact same set of permissions as previously determined. So you don't have to go in and change the settings every single time. So back to the Nimble contact record, you can also set up your stay in touch reminders here. And if I click this drop-down menu, we can see that I have some preset time periods. I have weekly, monthly, quarterly, annually, or I could set a custom time period. And this drop-down menu also makes it really easy to reset my reminder or completely remove it. Another useful feature is the ability to assign a contact owner. So this is really useful again for privacy reasons. If I wanted to set it private to someone else, I could do that using this drop-down menu. You also have the option to leave it unassigned if you'd like as well. If I scroll down a little bit, we have the option to edit tags right here. And we also have the option to qualify them as a lead using fields like rating, status, source, and type. And these individual fields can be customized in our settings. So if I go up here to this button, get back to this drop-down menu and go to data fields, I can change these fields here. All right, so on our contact record, on the right-hand side, under interactions, you can see the entire history of interactions you've had with your contact, including all of your notes, your emails, Twitter messages, like I said, and any activities. You can also use the individual tabs, as the main interaction tab can become a bit overwhelming as you develop your relationship with this contact. So as you can see, I have a lot of stuff here. So if I wanted to narrow it down to just notes that I've taken, I can click that right here. I can narrow it down to the different kinds of activities. So I have LinkedIn DMs or events, deals, etc. And I can go into messages here. And so that just shows me the messages. And I have this deals tab here that only shows me the deals, so I can narrow down my view. All right, so next up we have the data fields tab up here. And in this tab, you can create up to 5 custom tabs, and under each of them, up to 200 individual custom fields. Now, all of these fields can be segmented, and it's ideal to use for any specific information you'd like to record. Again, if you go into settings, And then data fields, you can customize those fields. You and your team members can also upload files. So if I go all the way here to our Files tab, you can see that you can upload them from Microsoft OneDrive, Google Drive, Dropbox, or you can upload them directly from your computer. All right, so that's what the individual contact record looks like. Now let's go back to our contacts page. Let me go to all contacts here. Now that we've taken a look at our contacts record or contact record, we can go into segmentation. You can launch segmentation by either clicking into the main search box on the top of the page, and that would be right here, this button labeled Segment Search with the little filter icon. Or you can go to the left-hand side of the screen at the bottom of your contacts or your contact list and click plus Add Segment. And these will both take you to the same page. So let me just show you. This is where that first button takes me. And if I click this one, it's exactly the same. So the segmentation feature allows you to search across many different data fields to help you organize your contacts into lists. And once you've organized your contacts into a list, you can take bulk actions, send group messages, and set follow-up tasks. So let's do an example right now. Click Add Contact Filter. And let's do email is not empty. And that is basically a long way of saying they have an email. So these are all my contacts who have an email address. Let me go into maybe people who have a birthday this quarter. So let's do from, September 1st to December 31st. Oh, I guess that's no one. I'll just take that out then. But yeah, so these are everyone who have an email address in my contacts. And you can further refine the search by any of your custom fields by clicking these plus buttons. So once you have your list ready, you can take different actions like marking the entire list as important. So if I select all of them, I have this little star button that appears and I can mark them as important. I can add a tag to them, set stay in touch reminders, and here we have the standard time periods or custom period. Now I can also take other bulk actions like changing the owner, changing their privacy, or adding them to a lead pipeline. I can merge them, but you can only merge up to 5 contacts. This list is pretty long, so can't do that here. You can export them, and we have our different exporting options here. I can delete them, or I can send a group message. So let's go into our group messaging feature from here. Nimble allows you to send targeted email messages to up to 300 contacts per day, depending on your Nimble plan. This is a really great way to send targeted sales outreach or marketing messages to lists of your contacts. The most common question that we get about this group messaging feature is if it can replace a marketing automation system. And the simple answer is no, because our group messaging was designed to be used in conjunction with our segmentation feature and allow you to send targeted email outreach. So the biggest advantage of Nimble's group messaging is that the messages are sent from your personal email address and won't appear as if they were sent from some anonymous marketing system. This makes it a lot more personal and a lot more likely for it to reach your contact's inbox instead of getting sent to spam or like the promotions tab, something like that. So back to our group message, let's start by adding a merge tag. So if you add a merge tag, you can click the field that you'd like for it to present. So if I click the first name merge tag, it looks like this. But when it comes into my contacts inbox, it's going to look like their first name. This way I can customize it without having to go into every single individual email and write their first name. You can attach files by using this button here. And you can also save this as a template or select a new template to use. And to set up your email signature, let's go into Settings. And again, it's this button on the top right-hand corner. Click that, go into the drop-down menu, and then go to Settings. We can go to Email Settings here. It's kind of in the middle of this menu. And then go to Email Signature. And from here, you can either create a new email signature or you can copy and paste an existing one. And then you can click Save and it'll appear in your group message. So let's go back to our group message. Like I said, while we're creating this group message, you can save it as a template or select a new template. And these templates are really useful because it saves you time on rewriting very similar messages. And these are also shareable templates. So not only can you use them, but the other people on your team can access them as well. And before you send your outreach, it is very good practice to send yourself a test message just to make sure that everything looks good, you don't have any typos, and all of your links are working. After you send your message, you can review the insights on the clicks and opens. And that is if you don't have this checked, if you have this little don't track this message thing checked, then it's not going to track your message. But if you don't have it unchecked, you can review your insights after the email is sent. And this will allow you to see how many people opened your message, how many of them clicked on the links that you included, and how many people haven't opened your message yet. You can use these insights to follow up with people and maybe send them another templated message to follow up with them. So that's our group messaging feature. Now let's go into our activities. So if I go up to the very top here, on the right-hand side of group messages, I have the activities tab. So let's go into our activities listing feature. And this provides you with a comprehensive table of scheduled and completed activities. The table columns can be configured to see which data is important to you. As you can tell, customization is really important for us, so you can customize most things in Nimble. The activities can also be exported. So if I go up to this button right here and click Export, you can change the kinds of activities you'd like, or all activities. You have different options here. All right, so if you wanted to only focus on a specific team member, you can go to this left-hand button here, or series of buttons, and then you can click that and put check marks. If you only wanted to see a specific kind of activity, you can click one of these quick filters. So if I only wanted to see tasks, right, I could click this tasks button and it would only show me the completed tasks here. And I can also change the time period that I'm looking at. Once I have all of those filters set to the activities that I would like to view, I can go into export and then it'll give me those filtered activities. All right, so that's our activities listing. Let's go into leads now. All right, so this feature enables you and your team to visualize the progress of your leads, qualifying them as they go through the buying phase and ultimately converting to a sale. And these customizable boards are great for not only tracking leads, but also great for other things as well. So for example, if I click this drop-down menu, I have an influencer relationships pipeline here as well. So you can customize these Kanban boards to create multiple pipelines and stages that suit your business needs. At the beginning of your lead generation process, you may find yourself with a bunch of potential deals sitting at the early stages of your pipeline. These deals might not be ready to move forward through the sales process, but they also might not be cold enough to be marked as lost or deleted. And this can cause a lot of clutter in your deals pipeline, and it can distract you from focusing on the deals that require your attention, right? So Nimble allows you to add leads to your account before adding them to your deal pipeline. The lead pipeline is a separate pipeline to store your pre-qualified leads before they become deals. And once you decide that a lead is qualified, you can easily convert leads to deals and add them directly into your pipeline to start your sales process. So let's go into what it looks like to set up your pipeline and stages. So once you've acquired a new lead, it'll go through a series of phases to be qualified. And depending on your business, these qualifications may include scheduling a sales call, or sending a marketing message, or sending a quote, etc. So to set up your pipeline so that it reflects your internal processes, you can visit the Leads tab right here, and then choose Settings. Now the Settings button is all the way to the top right-hand corner with this little gear icon. Okay, so once you're here, you can click Add New Pipeline. And here you can add a pipeline name and description. I'm just going to work with one of our examples already, so I'm going to go into this new leads pipeline here. All right, and so once we're in the editing part of setting up our pipeline, here you can see that if you click this Edit Stages button, not only can you edit the name of your stage, but you can also add specific instructions for each stage. And once you've made your changes, don't forget to click the Save Changes button. If I changed anything, it would appear on this bottom right corner here. So from this menu, I also have the option to delete stages. And you can also add more stages here. The number of stages in each pipeline completely depends on you and your process. You can have as few or as many as you need to reflect your processes. So if I go back to our pipeline settings, and I scroll down just a little bit, we can see this menu called Unsuccessful Exit Reasons, also known as Lost Reasons. So after you've created your pipeline, you'll be able to set your lost reasons, which can help you to better understand trends and ways to improve. And here you can see that I have all of these lost reasons here. And again, you can delete them or edit them. And if I scroll down just a little bit further, we have our lead card fields. And you can customize the list of fields in your lead cards so that they're relevant to your business. So right now I just have the default fields, but I can add new ones here. So maybe like lead details or contact info, I can add their birthday. And I can see that in the card in the pipeline. So let me save those changes. And let's go back to the pipeline. So I'll just go back to the Leads tab here. And here, or actually let me go to the one that I just edited. All right, so here now you can see their birthdays because I added that into my lead card. All right, so that's our leads pipeline feature. Now we can go into the deals, which is right here on the top. So you can use the deals feature to manage your sales opportunities, marketing projects, regular projects, renewals, and more, whatever you'd like to use it for. Nimble allows you to create as many pipelines as you need. and the account owner can delegate permissions to different users to be able to configure and create pipelines. Speaking of creating pipelines, to create a new pipeline or to edit an existing pipeline, you can go to Customize Pipelines. So that's this button here with the gear icon in the top left. So to create a brand new pipeline, you can click on the plus Add Deal Pipeline button, and you can give it a name and start creating individual pipeline stages. Again, I'm just going to go into a sample. So I have this opportunities pipeline here. So you can easily click and drag these stages in order to change the order. You can also edit them. You can change the stage name and the number of days in each stage. Okay, so I'll just click Save there. And you can also add your amount ranges here as well. So if I go back to our pipelines, you can create a new deal from here as well. So back to the top left-hand corner, if I click New Deal, from here you can name the deal, relate the deal to multiple contacts and companies. You can add the valued amount of the deal, schedule an expected close date, project the probability of closing, and also choose the beginning stage for your deal. And we have all of these options here. You can also add comments, etc. And you can also change the privacy here as well. All right, so to export deals from Nimble, back to these three buttons here in the very middle, we have our Export to CSV button. And you'll be able to choose which deals you'd like to export. So we have the options for all, active, won, or lost. And you can also pick which team member they're assigned to. Or you can have it assigned to all team members. And then just click that Export button, and your file will start to download. Okay, and last up on the main Nimble app, we have our Reports tab. So here, Nimble enables you to build reports for specific pipelines for your team as a whole or by an individual user during any time period you select. You can choose from one of our preset time periods. So here we have this week, last week, this month, last month, this quarter, last quarter, or you can set a custom time period using this calendar icon here. All right, so this is our dashboard, and this is where you can view yourself and your team members' deal progress at a glance. If I go to the left-hand menu and click Forecasted Deals right below our dashboard, again, we have these preset time periods, and you can also customize the time period using the calendar. And this will show you all of your future deal outlooks. And last up in this menu, we have Deals History. And this is where you can view all historic deal results, sorting by these time intervals or by your custom time interval here as well. And that covers all of the main features in Nimble. So let me get out of here. And we can now take a look at how you can use our browser extension and email add-ons to access Nimble from the places where you probably spend the most time in. Okay, so Nimble Prospector, let me just open it up here so you know what it looks like. This is our browser extension, and it's available on Firefox, Chrome, Microsoft Edge, and Safari. It works on any website, in any third-party cloud-based application, and on any social media platform. And now, speaking of social media, let's test this out on LinkedIn so that you know what it looks like there. All right, so here's my LinkedIn page. Also, since you're seeing this, feel free to add me on LinkedIn if you'd like. I'm happy to connect with any of you. So here is LinkedIn. The Nimble Prospector browser extension will allow you to create new contact records or update existing ones straight from LinkedIn or whatever website you're on. So if I scroll down and look for a name to hover over, let's see. Who would I like to connect with? All right, so if I hover over his name here, as you can see in the Nimble Prospector browser extension, it auto creates a new contact record. So if I click that plus button, it adds him into my contacts just like that. And from here, I can click into his contact. I can mark him as important or do any of the activities that we discussed previously. Similarly, if I go into someone's profile, I go back here, I can highlight their name, just like that, and it'll do the exact same thing. So I can add her as a contact here by clicking that plus button, and I can do all of the same activities. All right, so let's see what this looks like in Gmail now. And like I mentioned earlier in the webinar today, unfortunately, I'm having trouble with my Outlook, but I can go into Gmail and show you how that works. So let me just take a look at an email here. Let's go with this one. All right, so here, when I open up the email, Nimble Prospector will automatically open up the contact details for whoever sent me that email. Similarly, you can click the Nimble icon. In Outlook, it would be at the top right-hand corner, and the same menu will show up, and you could just click into that contact and do all the same things that you can do on LinkedIn or on any other website with Nimble Prospector. And with that being said, that concludes the main demo. All right, so before I go into our questions, let me just cover our upcoming webinars. So tomorrow, actually at 10 a.m. Pacific time, we have Make It, Don't Fake It, Why You Can't Fake Authentic Leadership with Sabrina Horn. And that is a free webinar that you can attend. In addition to that webinar, every single week we have our training webinars. So next week is going to be contact cleanup strategies. The week after that is another general overview. And then finally, in the first week of October, we have deals, pipelines, and reporting. And all of these webinars can be accessed from the Nimble webinars page. Nadia, if you could send that in the chat, that would be awesome. And we also have a special offer for any of our new users here today. You can sign up today and get 30 days of Nimble for free by clicking the link nimble.com/offers/webinar30. And again, Nadia, if you could send that link in the chat as well, that would be great. And then lastly, I would like to invite everyone to join the Nimble community on social media. You can find us on Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube. We already shared our YouTube link, but for all the rest of those, you can just search us up. Our handle is Nimble for all of them. I think on LinkedIn, it's Nimble CRM, but we'll be easy to find on all of those social media networks. I invite you to join us for updates on everything Nimble. All right, so now it is time for questions. Let me go into the questions view so I can start to cover all of your questions. All right, so I have a question from Garland, and that is, what is the benefit of using segments versus just using a tag to differentiate people? So let me go into Nimble to show you. Let me close out Prospector. All right, so for segments, you can use segments to track multiple things. So for example, if you have a tag for someone, let's do 2021 imports. You can search people up by that single criteria, or if you'd like to see all of your 2021 imports plus people who have an email address. And that might not be like the best example because it's not super specific, but if you have a more specific example, you can search these multiple fields here. And you can search plenty of different fields. I don't think that there's a limit on how many fields that you can pick, which makes the segmentation feature a lot more useful than the tags when you're looking for a very specific group of people. So I hope that answers your question. The short answer is that tags are great for single criteria, and segmentation is great for looking for more specific groups based on multiple criteria. All right, so I have another question from Dane, and that is, can I move the location of the pop-up notification? It blocks my save button. The pop-up notification, would that be for Nimble Prospector, or is that for something else? Because if we're talking about Nimble Prospector, if we go into the browser extension, you can change it from this side to the other side using this like little box button here. I prefer to have it on the right side just because that's where the little icon is. So if I click it, I just have to move my mouse a couple inches. All right, so maybe you mean in Gmail. So here we have this. Can I change it here? Yeah, I think that in Gmail it only shows up on the right side. If you'd like to follow up on that question, I can connect you with one of our care team members and they can kind of walk you through it a little bit more. I'm sorry, I'm not really sure what you mean by that, but we'll definitely help you sort that out. All right, so I have another question. This is a pretty long one. Garland says, I currently have a training program for virtual assistants. I would like some of them to help me with Nimble contacts, but the number of VAs is continually changing and they may only be on the project for a few weeks. Is there a way to work with VAs in my system without each of them having to have an account? Purchasing 10 accounts for VAs would be cost prohibitive, especially since I am continually rotating new VAs through my training. All right, so this is a pretty specific question. Unfortunately, I don't think that I can answer it right away, but like I said with Dane, I can connect you to a care associate and they can help you sort out your account details. Unfortunately, I don't really know how to answer that at the moment. Oh, and Dane followed up. They said, when I am doing an email. Okay, yeah, so for this, unfortunately, I don't know how to change where the pop-up shows up in your email. So that's something that you may have to contact care for. All right, so I have another question from Garland. How are the highlighted contacts chosen in this widget? So I mentioned before that you can change the search criteria for your highlighted contacts. So just as a refresher, it's this widget right here. If I go into, I think it's data fields, let me just check real quick. All right, today page, highlighted contacts. Oh yeah, contact keywords. So if I go into settings here, contact keywords should be here. Where is it? Give me 1 second to find it. Oh yeah, highlighted contacts. And here we can add different keywords. So right now this is what I have. And if I add a comma, I can add another field that I'm looking for, another word that I'm looking for. So say I wanted to find people, or I wanted to highlight people who are social media managers. I can also do social media as another keyword, or just maybe marketing lead. If I have those in my keywords list, then this will refine my highlighted contacts and search for people in my contacts who have these words in their bio, in their job title, basically anywhere within their contact record. All right, so next question from Garland is, can Nimble be used for social listening, for example, to monitor for keywords on Twitter that are not necessarily my brand? As far as I know, I'm not quite sure about our social listening. As it stands, we have our signals feature, and here you can search some specific hashtags, and this will show. This will appear in your signals, but I don't think that this is super refined quite yet. This is definitely something that we'd have to check up on, but our signals are mostly intended for use to connect with your contacts. So this will track all of your contact interactions. As for social listening, you may need to use a different tool for that, but I would definitely experiment with this because you can search specific hashtags, and if you're looking in a hashtag as opposed to an entire keyword or industry, it might be a little bit easier to do that. And I hope that answers your question. All right, so I'm gonna give it a couple more seconds if people would like to ask any more questions. It's still not 11 yet, so we have a couple more minutes. All right, so it looks like everyone's done asking questions. All right, with that being done, I'd like to thank you all for joining us in this webinar. Again, we have some webinars coming up. We have one tomorrow, and we have our weekly webinars, including another general overview. So if you'd like any of your team members to see this demo, feel free to invite them to our next general overview. There's nothing else I need to cover. So thank you all again, and have a great rest of your day.